The TNC has been disciplined around keeping Gabby alive. I do like the ban outs here. Beastmaster ban out from Team Dog might be indicating perhaps a Faces Void pickup, which would work well with an Ogre Magi. We'll see if TNC picks up on that and bans it out as their last ban. But Team Dog are ticking really hard about their next bans. Like digging this deep into reserve time on that second phase, not too uncommon, but leaves them less tinking time to really maximize their second phase picks.
That is true. Final banouts, though, they are slowly but surely coming out. Team Dog just really focusing on those off-lane bans right now. The Batrider and Beastmaster both being removed. What else do we want to see? Just making sure KP has a bad time according to these bans. They also get rid of the Mars, which is fair enough. Mars being still a very, very popular hero in the meta. Just never really seemed to have died down ever since it came out. It's been good for a very, very long time. Probably another one of those heroes that's going to have some adjustments made to the hero. The nice way to put it. The Troll Warlord also removed by TNC, so just wanting to get rid of as many position 1s as possible. And now we'll get to see some more picks come out, which is always a very nice feeling.
Yeah, we still have to see what TNC wants to build up on their Spectre here. Undying is a fairly solid 5, as we mentioned, with Spec, but they're going to need some space to be bought out. Of course, they just go to the Tim's Mirana.
Never misses.
Never misses. He doesn't have setup here, though, but we've seen TNC not really care about setup for Arrow. Still slightly worrisome. There's no stunts on Undying Spec, so it's all down to Tim's for now. We'll see how else they compensate across the draft. Team Dog, they've still got the option for the Faceless Void. They might want to just pick up their supports or an offlane here first before showing their full hand. But if they do go for the Void, Undying and Mirana aren't particularly great at stopping the Void from being annoying, so they could go for that option. They go to Bloodseeker first, which is pretty darn nice up against Mirana, and even a Spec is going to have a hard time haunting away. TNC goes straight to the Slardar for KP. So there's your combination with Mirana. Crush into Arrow is pretty potent. The Haze as well helps your Spectre and helps everyone else kind of melt a target down. But Team Dog, I think they are getting some value here from the Bloodseeker. These are high mobility heroes in the Slaughter Mirana Spec. If you do manage to slow them down, use your ult on them, they will not run away, and they go with the Terrorblade instead. So just going back to this IYD special to rip and tear through TNC's lineup should be an interesting one to watch out for. Not the best illusion clearing heroes here from TNC. And Team Dog has this outstanding push potential with Lush TB as long as Metamorphosis is up.
That they do. And now we go into the final ban stage. It's like Team Dog naturally get rid of the Zeus, as TB really does not enjoy playing up against that Zeus, and Armel is of course missing his mid hero right now. You'd expect some just magical calls to be removed here for Armel. I imagine the Leshrac is going to be there for Arbit in that mid lane, so TNC should already have a matchup in mind. And I always say this when we do come to the point where Armel is yet to make a pickup, but I am looking at heroes like the Kunkka again for Armel every single time. It always just seems to fit.
It really does. It gives you a great way to hold down this Bloodseeker as well, right? Like in case he's running away while everyone's low. He's gonna get caught out. It's still good damage against a Terrorblade, and it can help you sustain your Spectre. You tie that in with the Undying Heal would be amazing, but Team Dog see that coming from a mile away and just kind of ban it out.
Yeah. That or the Queen of Pain, and well, the Kunkka's gone now, so Queen of Pain seems kind of nice for Armel here, I would say. It can be a little bit hard into the Bloodseeker, of course, because you can just get ruptured up. So the Void Spirit is going to come out as well now, so you don't really know exactly who's going to be in that mid lane. So it is a bit of a flex pick here with the Void Spirit. TNC, I'd still say even with the Bloodseeker, the Queen of Pain does fit quite nicely.
Yeah, it could line up. They go to Puck instead, so it's still another high mobility hero. Gives them some better team fight overall in terms of control. does give them a lot of flexibility there. It does look like we are getting the Abed Void Spirit. So it's the Paulson Lesh here. See how much they can pump out with the support Lesh. But gonna be an interesting first game coming out. Very different draft here for Team Dog in comparison to what we've been seeing from the rest of the teams in terms of meta. TNC sticking to something that's much more, I'd say TNC standard here. The only exception's the Undying, but that has sort of just recently come back. So you've got the solid Gabby spec coming in, Tim Sperana, KP on his Slardar, Armel on his Puck, lots of mobility, lots of potential to fight early. We'll see how much emphasis they put on early haunts, if that's something they'll want to have Gabby involved in at all. And Team Dog, you know, we mentioned it from draft, but they're going to have to watch out for the push coming out from Team Dog. Leshrac with Diabolic Edict and the Metamorphosis on Terrorblade will make short work of any of these objectives.
That it will. Well, game one looks to be a pretty heated one between these two. TNC probably looking to be the favorites just based off their group standings right now. And well, in terms of draft, it's hard to know who is ahead. So even with that Spectre up against the Terrorblade, it can be a pretty hard matchup as long as the Metamorphosis is up and ready to go. But we'll see what either team can get done moving into this. Of course, how could we forget Febby on the Undying is also with us once again. Very happy to see the coach in, playing with the team.
Yeah, should be having a good time. You know how he is, right? Like he tends to be a very airy guy, very laid back, high spirits. I believe that's going to help TNC as well in all of these exchanges, which is one thing we kind of talked about it in a different series where mental fortitude is a big part for these teams. So having Febby around helps a ton. Though Team Dog not going to rest around here. They do smoke up early, Mike.
That they do. They'd love to get started with an early first blood if they could get it. They're going to run straight into Tim's. Febby, that's a nice decay. 12 strength straight off the bat. It's kind of like, okay, maybe we shouldn't go into these guys anymore. It's a bit too good of a start for Febby with that 1 3-man decay he just got. Yeah, they're just going to back off. No point in trying to pursue this. And props to TNC. They seem to be somewhat aware that this was going to happen. They did stand back and... oh, they will not be able to get anything on the side of Team Dog.
Yeah, it's a bit of a wasted first smoke there for Team Dog. Still managed to get themselves out in the right spots to grab their bounty runes. Really interesting warding spots here from TNC as well. Going for a defensive one in their top jungle early on, along with one just to watch the runes. So a little bit less standard. Let's see how well this top ward does go out.
Warning in your dream, and then in your dream says blonde.
What?
Interesting.
I'm not sure what they're trying to do here. He just said good luck, have fun, and Arnold's like, warning. I'm warning you, kid.
That's your first and final warning in your dream. Don't ever talk to Armel like that again. Armel not very happy today. We'll see what they can get done here. So Arbed going to be up against Armel in that mid lane. So the Puck versus the Void Spirit matchup should be fairly even. It's hard to know who will come out ahead in this 1v1 in the mid lane. Could be quite explosive though. You could definitely imagine either hero kind of dying to the other, especially if we do see any kind of support rotation coming in.
Yeah, it really boils down to those early supports if they can get the space out. So far though, Armel, it's going to be a melee versus range lane. Puck is always going to have fun. At least Resonant Pulse is going to mitigate some of that, but really going to boil down to level 4 timings. Maybe even just the level 6 timing straight off. So you want to secure those power runes as they come out to help you ride into that point. And we're going to see if the supports get some space for that. Going to take a look up top. You've got Gabby with Febby on the Spectre and Undying, of course. They are laning against Ice's Bloodseeker and Paulson on the support Lesh. So far, rather even start. Ice is edging out just a bit in last hits, but they haven't really slowed Gabby down too much.
No, they have not. Gabby should be pretty fine here. I think up until you get a few more levels on Ice. The Blood Right, while it is quite painful at level 1, it's not going to be too scary for the Spectre. Of course, Febby, that level 2 mark, once he does have the Soul Rip up, going to be even harder to try and kill off the Spectre. Febby going to go for a nice stack on that small camp. Meanwhile, Paulson, however, does get the large cap pull, but they are trying to pull the creep wave away. Gabby going to be forced to farm with the creep wave and that large cap. Paulson not allowing them to just pull this away, but he does leave the large cap on its own, basically. And, well, Gabby going to actually lose a courier now into the Blood Right and the Split Earth. He does not get large creep either. Gabby just lost everything up that top lane.
He cops a ton of damage as well, and because he lost his courier, he doesn't have any regen. Gonna have to play with a soul rip, Gabby.
Gonna be okay, I think. Febby was just holding on to the soul rip for the right moment. So they will probably just salve Gabby up when they do get a chance. But the problem is they don't have a salve. I believe Febby might be bringing one out now, and yeah, he is, but it's going to be a bit of time where Gabby doesn't really feel safe to be able to farm up, so they do eventually just give him the soul rip.
Yeah, it was a bit on the edge, right? You're playing against Bloodseeker. You don't want to stay low too long. Still, because of that exchange, Gabby's going to have a harder time in lane, already being bullied out by Ice, and he's just diving.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Blood Right. You know Gabby can't run out of that circle before the Blood Right pops, so Ice abusing it perfectly so far. Of course, we should have a look at that one lane we haven't looked at yet, the bot lane, where In Your Dream is going to be on the Terrorblade. We'll have our full round on the Ogre, and we'll be up against KB on that Slider, and Tim's, of course, on the Mirana. Quite a devastating lane here for TNC, especially assuming they can land the Crush into the Arrow. Could mean some easy kills for them, but for now, looks like Tim's and Arfu are going to leave the lane and try to secure those 4-minute power runes, which are going to be quite important for both these mid laners. And it is going to be up top where Abed is going to be able to go and bottle it up. And that is going to be very, very nice here for Abed on that Void Spirit.
Gives him a lot more to play with. Armel has been lagging slightly behind, not too far behind in terms of last hits, but the EXP has been a lot smoother here for Abed, so he's going to he's just slightly ahead in his 5. If he gets an early 6, could be an opportunity to jump Armel. Of course, the support's not really committing for any movement down mid as well, so we're at 4.5 minutes in. No first blood yet. Really cautious plays from both sides. Both side lanes just kind of focused on farming. In Your Dream is slightly eking ahead, but again, there's no substantial lead here to speak of yet.
No, not quite yet. KP not really able to apply as much pressure as he would like up against his TB. Trying to get the bashes in, but of course In Your Dream with that extremely high base armor is not going to be that affected by these bashes from KP. Not quite yet anyway, but so KP is starting to pile them on. Top lane, they are going to have a go at Febby and Gabby with the double stun out from Paulson. Ice drops the Blood Right as well, and TNC will avoid that. This top lane will not have any kills going. However, bot lane is where it happens. In Your Dream pops the meta and is able to turn back around onto the Slider. Eventually does end up getting the kill.
No.
Paulson. Top lane as well going down. Tim's. He made the rotation on the Mirana and does end up getting the kill onto the support Leshrac. However, Ice trying to go after Febby, but Febby did already TP away, and the Blood Right was never going to make it there in time.
Armel?
Armel now going to be in trouble. Pops the Dream Coil. Abed cannot reach for another hit. Does have another Astral Step in a moment, but he is not going to get there in time. He takes so many tower hits on the way out. He's going to be okay, but Tim's was hunting for an arrow opportunity. Unfortunately for Tim's, however, arrow was on cooldown at the time, so he could not try for it. Instead, he is going to go for the siege creep and does manage to get that. Abed trying to be very aggressive with that double damage room, but while that's happening, Gabby ends up dropping very low on the Spectre. Ice again getting very aggressive with these Blood Rights. Couldn't quite finish off the kill.
You're seeing a lot of tiptoeing around across each lane. I think the emphasis now for Team Dog is to try to maximize the early levels in Edict they do have on their Lush to try to get a push going, just not finding the openings. Have to be careful about leaving Gabby alone like this up against his tower. Like Ice could get an opportunity, and they've got backup here as well.
Yeah, Gabby's trying to rush that Blade Mail and still doesn't have the boots up, so he can't actually move out of the Blood Right if it is placed perfectly. And now Paulson trying to go for the kill, but will miss out as Gabby did just TP straight off the bat. Febby will take over this top lane instead, but now he's just going to be ruptured up immediately by Ice. He's trying to run and buy some time, and it looks like he might actually get away with this. Does soul rip up, Febby, still sitting around, but now the Haunt does come in from Gabby to try and help out. Ice getting very, very low, and might just drop here to Gabby, and does. He'll leave a blood right behind. Paulson, he got greedy trying to go in for that kill, and will also die along with his Bloodseeker.
It's a pretty darn good first haunt for TNC. They get Gabby in the right spot. They manage to find some kills. They punish the dives of Ice, and this is what you want to see when you have the Spectre. You can't allow Gabby to fall. They put a lot of resources to save him, and Team Dog aren't really able to use these movements to their advantage. Like, there's an opportunity to perhaps go bot, but they don't really get anything done, and now Armel.
He's just playing around here with Arbit. Doesn't want to commit the Dream Coil if he doesn't have to, but he did get the Invis rune. Your Dream just rotating into the jungle now, just wanting to farm up on this TB. Gabby, I imagine, will do a very similar thing in just a moment once he does have the full Blade Mail up. Looks like he was kind of forced into going for those casual brown boots. That blood right from Ice was getting kind of infuriating as time went on. I think Gabby just didn't want to risk having to take those any longer, but he might have to just take a rupture. Goes to the TP play. There's no stun to stop the TP. Gabby, quick thinking there, will be able to get himself out, but now In Your Dream does rotate up towards the top lane on the Terrorblade and should be able to get the Tier 1 tower very easily.
Yep, they've got the Leshrac Terrorblade. It's that Metamorphosis timing. Going to be able to get this top tier 1. You don't really have TNC in a spot to trade for the bot. They're not going to find any tower trade, and Team Dog might just want to invade the jungle. They're already in position to clear some camps out. And TNC slowly working down bot, but their heroes just don't hit these objectives as fast. So it's going to be a bit of a laborious process.
It will. Tim's going to take a blood right, tried to leap out, but doesn't quite get there. They're going to move into that mid lane now where Paulson has gotten started with the Diabolic Edict and was just hiding behind the tree line so the tower couldn't even attack him. Now Ice after the glyph will come in along with Arbet and Arfu. And that Tier 1 tower, not going to last very long, will also go down. Some great objective taking here from Team Dogs thus far. The TNC, the best they can ask for is they will go after the bot Tier 1, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's a trade in the end for the top. They did lose mid, so you're still a step up here for Team Dog in terms of control. They don't really get too many deep wards here, though, but they are taking control of that jungle. You've got a good spot for In Your Dream to just play on the Terrorblade. TNC's not really looking to punish just yet. And they are just focusing on getting Gabby that farm. Blade Mills up, clearing out the Ancients. What you expect from the Spectre. And that should allow Gabby to start to catch up. Not too far behind from In Your Dream, but does want that gold injection to really start playing. Perhaps might look for an opportunity with the next haunt up. Again, Gabby's not at his strongest yet. It's really down to perhaps Armel to get some rotations out and even KP, but they don't really have the initiation tools. No blink, no major items yet in KP, and Armel is still holding out for his travels on the puck.
Absolutely. Well, very slow kind of period here in this game. It's only 2-3 now. It's kind of what you expected from these drafts, though, right? Both teams would be much more focused in on trying to get some farm up rather than being very aggressive with their with these kind of team fights. You are kind of expecting a down period for maybe the next 5 minutes before you see much more kind of fighting going on between these two. But as I say that, TNC have now grouped up as 4 up at that top lane. And they want to start making these rotations out. Just giving Gabby the space and time to be able to get his own farm up. So they'll move into the Radiant Triangle. where In Your Dream and Arfu are hanging out, and of course they just want In Your Dream. They just smoked away, but now they're going to come back in. Dreamcore going to miss completely from Armel, and now Abed jumps in on the puck. We'll get one, moving back into the back lines after KB, who's been ruptured up. He will walk away a little bit, but he is pretty screwed here. In fact, maybe not. He's on the river now. Dodges out the Aether Remnant, but they have the Split Earth, and they will be able to get him.
It's a costly rotation out. Just not landing the Dream Coil, that's their best initiation. Again, they lack the tools right now to get clean jumps in. Like, no blink on KP. He is rushing BKB first. Just stand and fight. And the travels still have to come out. So you don't have any major in-between items beyond this Veil. And even then, that's just not enough for Armel to really control here.
No, it is not. Armel just going to be very careful about missing those Dream Coils, as they do really rely on that lockdown. Bebby going to get spotted out. Ice will be there with the follow-up Blood Ride, and Bebby should eventually die, and will. Now they just want to try and take control of this dire triangle, and that's exactly what they'll do. TNC, it looks like they are just going to have to play the kind of a void game for now. I suppose things are rather dangerous for them. Don't want to risk sticking around longer than they have to.
Yeah, it's playing it safe. Team Dog right now do have the slight lead. They have been, playing not really too aggressive, right? After those two tier 1 towers fell, they haven't really gone out hunting. It's TNC's that really trying to find a grip in the early game. They smoke up once more. Let's see if they can work the angle issues that they've been having and start to find some better targets. They still have the haunt ready as well from Gabby. Only has the blade mail, but could be enough if he does pop it in the right time.
Absolutely, they're going to move in now. KP still doesn't have that blink initiation, but it won't matter too much. They go into Arfu, just trying to run away from this situation for now as Ice gets rid of Atos, and Abed jumps in with a big resonant pulse. They go after the Slider. That'll be KP going down. Flesh Golem will be eventually popped as Febby. Gets a very nice decay off, but they are just focusing down that Tombstone, and afterwards they could go after the Undying. TNC looks like they aren't too interested in sticking around any further. They're just going to have to back off after losing their Slider.
Yeah, it's just really awkward with how they have to start these fights. You can't just run up and hope for the best. Like, one of these two needs a blink. Maybe even a Yules could just stand by here. Travels are up on Armel, so he can split push, but that doesn't help the fights. And right now, that's where Team Dog is shining. Abed can just get the initiation he wants. His Yules is almost done. Once you've got that, the initiation for Team Dog really starts to shine. And they're still playing this push strat. No, Tims.
Yeah, he's been run of Atos up. This is a very dangerous period here for Tims. He's going to be okay. It's like Team Dog will maintain this 2k net worth advantage, and top lane, Paulson trying to go into Armel, but he is completely on his own. Gabby going to be there to back Armel up with this Dream Core being thrown out. KB even coming in. Now Ice and Arbit going to show up to try and go after KB, but he has his whole team behind him. So they aren't really going to be able to initiate, or maybe Arfu seems to believe they can. Blood Ride again, does go on to 2. KB just going to frontline onto In Your Dream, but they don't really have the damage. Now Arbit going to just jump in and take down the Slider. Back into the backlines where we'll go after Gabby, but Gabby will haunt back in onto In Your Dream. Does get the kill on the Terrorblade as he haunts around, not allowing them to find the right one, and now Ice is forced to just back off. Arbit even losing his courier there. Blood Rite is going to be thrown out once again, but it won't catch anyone out. And TNC, I mean, it looked like a really bad start to that team fight, but they do end up getting a 3-for-1 trade.
Yeah, it works out really well. They overextend just a bit there on the side of Team Dog. Couldn't get the Sunder off. I think you have to really be careful about that if you are In Your Dream. Just overestimates his tankiness when it's really not that high yet. Abed losing his courier as well for a minute 40 means that the Yules is going to be delayed by that amount as well. So openings for our Void Spirit delayed for a little bit more, and that just keeps TNC in the game.
Tims Playing with fire here, he's been ruptured up by Ice, and Ice does get the rupture off. With the thirst, he should have no problems killing off this Mirana. It's going to be another nice kill here for our Bloodseeker. So KP and Armel, however, want to try and get some vengeance as they do move up towards the top lane with the tail end of that Moonlight Shadow, and now the Dream Coil will be expended. Ice. Looks like he may have just accepted the fact that he is going to die. Armel will go ahead and pick up the kill on the puck.
It's a pretty nice pickup in exchange. Definitely a win for TNC overall. Dropping your Mirana for that, I think you're perfectly happy. They do manage to, again, a really even game, keeping it that way here for TNC. They are stalling out even more. Yasha's up and Gabby. You've got the blink up at last on Armel, so you've got a solid way of jumping around as well. And that should allow them to start to find some stronger angles here. Still, Ice did manage to buy out his mech right as he died, so he's going to be able to heal his team in these bigger fights as they break out. The Yules for Abed, again, just needs to fly out from that courier once it respawns. He is saving up for his Ags here on the Void Spirit, so you're going to have the AoE Silence. Again, another big spike for the Void Spirit once it's up. And In Your Dreams, just doing typical Terrorblade stuff, is still on top of the net worth board, but not by much. You're seeing Gabby keep up within about 300 gold right now. So your Spectre is still having a pretty darn good time ramping up here, despite despite that early aggression. In Your Dream is barely ahead, and that's something they have to be aware of. The Terrorblade does have big spikes when Metamorphosis is up, but it hurts just as much while Metamorphosis is down as well. So the Spectre has a little bit more uptime in terms of presence, and Team Dog needs to plan their movement around with Metamorphosis in mind.
That they do. See what they can get done. They're just trying to rush for the Aghanim Scepter. That'll be very effective for him and his team. Still, Armel, that low cooldown Dream Coil will be able to fight again very, very soon. He is trying to have a go in Your Dream. Or rather, Ice unable to get a rupture off there. TNC playing the very passive game, just kind of waiting it out, waiting for that right moment.
There is little hope for Dire's middle tower. Somewhere, someone lays blame.
Both teams just kind of walking around each other right now. Not engaging yet. They might run into Febby. Let's get some deep wards down. They do scout him out. But right, not going to connect, of course. But they'll know a ward's up there on the cliff now. And Arfu immediately will get rid of it. That'll mean a smoke up straight off the bat. Moonlight Shadow has been popped, however. And Tims does break the smoke and they cannot see him. Very nice timing there from Tims. Just following down Ice. Eventually we'll back off and there's be another smoke wasted here. TNC, well, they're just trying to buy time for Gabby. They're not really stressed out.
This really hurts Team Dog a lot more. And we were talking about the push potential with a Leshrac, a Terrorblade with Metamorphosis, and the Bloodlust coming out from an Ogre Magi. They're not really able to get any more. Like, after those 2 tier 1s, they still haven't taken the bot tier 1. They haven't made a move on any tier 2. They just haven't made any progression, and that is hurting them. This is the strength of the lineup of Team Dog. If they're not playing to that strength, TNC, as this game lags on, I mean, this is a Spectre. This scales really well. Even this puck does scale really well into that late game as well. Whereas you've got an upper limit as to the presence of the Bloodseeker really starts to taper off at some point, and even the Void Spirit kind of tapers off to a certain extent as well. So Team Dog needs to maximize this kind of opening while they're strong. They've already got the Manta up on IYD. They're saving up for the Scotty next, but I don't think you want to wait for that full thing. You just need to commit to a tower, force the team fight out, and kind of try to get your targeting right. You just need to be careful about focusing on the Spectre in the Haunt, as the Blade Mail is just going to really ruin you. But if they protect in your Dream in the middle of these engagements, it should be fine.
Top lane. Oh, they found KP again on that Slaughter. KP gonna try and hide in the tree line, and will beat KP up and just survive for now. As they do move in with the TPs. Armel looking for a big Dream call, but won't throw it out. Your Dream moving back up towards that tier 2 tower. Not looking to stop anytime soon. Meanwhile, towards the south, it looks like they have ended up finding out Febby, and Febby is definitely going to die. Arbit able to pick up a nice pick-off for himself. And they are indeed going to get that tier 2 tower without really much contention here from TNC. Looks like TNC are kind of just stuck waiting again for Gabby. But they do smoke up. So maybe it's about that time to go. They may believe the Roshan's happening right now, but that is not the case. Dream Coil, Arbed going to be caught out with the silence there as well. He cannot dissimulate, but he gets the Yules off in time. Dissimulate, not going to be there. They have the arrow, but now he will get it, and will actually be able to astral step away. They do not get the kill they wanted. Arbed, oh no they did. Armel did find him TPing in the back lines. Very nice play there from Armel, and now the Horn comes in. Who are they going for, however? Looks like it'll be Arfu they target. He is the easiest one to go for, and they do manage to pick him up. The dagger forward, they want Polison. Rupture there on Gabby, trying to slow him down, but Armel will find Polison on the left rack. And TNC, they find 3 big pickoffs, and that'll be enough. They will get out.
Yeah, it's a nice big win for them. Again, playing around the Haunt quite well, knowing that Metamorphosis was more than likely down after that push. So they make use of that downtime on Terrorblade. They go straight into the Roche. This is not going to last too long when you have a Slaughter that can help you amp up the damage. So first Aegis of the game going towards TNC, but they're not going to get it for free.
Well, they kind of are. Looks like the side of Team Dog don't make it in time. They do give up the Tombstone, but that's going to be it. Or maybe they give up Gabby. Gabby's been left behind here. Bloodright's going to come out with the Fire Blast, and Gabby, he's still surviving. The Dream Coil will be there to just hold them back. Gabby's going to be alright. He does get away with the Aegis intact. Arfu going to be targeted, but KB's the one to go down, and so does Febby. Ice still chasing. The Yules is going to be there onto Tim's now, and well, this is a very expensive Aegis. As Tims should also die, but they don't have another Astral Step. Meanwhile, Ice diving into Gabby with the Rupture, and Bloodright is unable to kill the Spectre, but they do end up getting Tims.
Oh, that was definitely not as free as TNC would have liked it to. They did manage to make something happen at the tail end. They still hold the Aegis to it. I think at the end, Gabby having the second life is still big, but it is a costly pickup. Team Dog now have an opportunity to play with his Metamorphosis. Is back up along with a Scotty. So IYD is going to hit a lot harder. They've also got this fresh Ags up and Paulson. So much more damage will go.
Gonna go on to Arfu. Arfu doesn't really have any way out of this, so he's definitely just gonna die. Mel sitting at 6-1 and 2 now on the puck. Looking very, very good. It is going to get very, very scary, though, once Arbed does have this Aghanim Scepter. That AoE silence is just so devastating in the middle of the team fights. And apart from Gabby, they haven't really been struggling with everyone else on the side of TNC.
No, it's going to be difficult once you get that power spike on Abed, as you mentioned. Not many defensive items built up. I mean, Armel does have his Lincolns, but nothing to stop that AoE sound. So that's going to be a scary point. TNC is going to have to be cautious. At the least, KP has his BKB, so he might be able to stall out for some time, getting a crush off in the middle. It looks like Team Dog, though, are feeling confident. 600 gold away for Abed. Again, the Scotty up in your dream. He's going for his BKB next. Gabby is very close to his own Scotty, though, so just about 200 behind. And could be big for him as well.
Tims ends up dying up at the top lane. It's like Abed once again does end up catching out the Mirana. And he's 30 gold away from the Axe now. Should be able to just pick it up very, very easily anytime. He will go for it now. Gabby mid lane is farming up. Should be fairly fine unless the Blood Rite does come in and Arfu gets a Fire Blast off. Aether Remnant there with the Dissimulate, but Arbet not going to stick around to finish off the kill. As Gabby still has the Aegis and is still a bit of a tanky boy. Keep going. Armel, Dreamcoil is going to be out now with the Haunt coming in from Gabby, and looks like they are going to be able to finish off Arfu. With that, Ice 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 also goes down. Gabby moving for more. Arbet trying to run. Should be okay. A nice setup there from Armel on the puck. Does help ensure they get a couple of kills for their trouble. In fact, they're going for more now. Tims love to go after Paulson, gets the Yules off, but is going to die for his trouble. And now even Armel getting very, very low. Gabby's going to try and fight this one out. Onto Paulson. Armel could not get himself out. In Your Dream finishes off the kill. Now looking to fight back up against KP and Gabby. He's just got to clean up here for In Your Dream, and In Your Dream will get an ultra kill. Gabby will respawn up. He'll be the Rampage if they can kill him, but it looks like Gabby might be a little bit too tanky. They're still going to give this a shot. Gabby getting low now. He's going to try and fight back up against In Your Dream, but a Rampage will be there for In Your Dream. He does manage to get it on the Terrorblade. And what a shame for TNC. They got 2 easy kills. They wanted to go up the high ground and get more, and unfortunately, they just paid for it.
They didn't see the Ags on Abed. Like, that fight broke up. Abed was staying out of vision. He knew that was not the spot to fight in. And TNC overextended. Good punishment out from Team Dog to get that done. In Your Dream can be very happy with himself as he does pick up that Rampage and just, again, making great use of this item spike here on Team Dog's side. Playing the right sacrificial game and do manage to win out because of that. TNC got to be cautious about it. Respect the power spike on Abed. Again, they don't have anything defensive here.
Well, mid lane, Abed getting started again onto KP, but he's going to be able to just walk away. Still TNC now definitely on the back foot this game. Definitely not great considering how their game was started. This is kind of what we talked about in the draft phase though. This Spectre generally doesn't really enjoy going up against the Terrorblade, and just overall the whole side of Team Dog has been quite effective in the way they've been playing this game. I mean, you could try to just hope and work towards more farm on Gabby. It's kind of like how much more is going to help, though, up against the In Your Dream Terrorblade.
Not as much. I think the key thing now for TNC down the line is to play around the weaknesses of the Terrorblade. So wait for Metamorphosis to be popped in lane, pull back, refresh. Once you know Metamorphosis is down, you have a massive window to get a kill out. Still, it's not getting any easier. The lead In Your Dream has this massive 4K above our spec, has the Satanic up, and they smoke up.
That they do. Meta up in 2 seconds. Arbed has made the jump in onto Armel with the silencer rod of Atos. Armel going to get blown up, but the rest of TNC have jumped in. They'll go after Arfu. KP trying to get away. He will die to In Your Dream, and they will just keep moving forward. Gabby forced to back off. The one saving grace is that Tombstone will make it so they can't chase any further. Or maybe they can. Arbed, he's going in by himself. He's been used up, however, and the arrow will land from Tims. Now they can just go high ground, though. No buybacks on either of those cores that did go down.
Oh, look at the melt.
Yeah.
They have the Blood Rage along with the Blood Lust. So, In Your Dream hits like a machine gun.
Don't forget the Diabolic Edict on top, John. It's
Oh boy.
a lot of tower damage, and oh boy, Febby is going to die. Paulison with the Aghanim Scepter upgrade. He's going to be able to take him out. Now that top rack's going to go down as well. In Your Dream, just taking care of it. And, well, they're not going to be able to find the final lane of racks, but they've got a huge net worth lead, and 2 racks is up. They are very close to taking out this game number 1.
Yeah, and this is Team Dog finally, being patient, getting the spikes they needed, playing with their strengths, and they're chasing Gabby a bit. It's a bit risky.
Gabby will give the tip over to Arbed, but I'm not sure Gabby's in a position for this kind of stuff right now. Must be still feeling a little bit confident, but it's looking very, very dark for TNC this game 1. The longer it goes on as well, the more farm the side of Team Dog is finding. It's just hard to see how you come back. Like, you've still got this powerhouse in the Spectre. Even the puck is pretty darn great, but that Terrorblade just kind of, it's looking unstoppable now. And of course, Arbed has not made it easy to get through to the backlines where you can find this TB.
No, and it's a really quick Roche as well on top of it. When Team Dog does have the control, so they're going to be able to take this objective. TNC, not really having the vision there, need to make their way down and contest it at some point. Looks like Team Dog might opt to find a pickoff first, though, before anything else.
Why the hell not? TNC, they take the outpost back, but that's probably just going to be taken back by Arfu. He does grab it. Arrow, nice block there with the In Your Dream illusion, but KB is going to blink in, but he cops the stun out. Now Armel could not get the Dream Call off in time. He will now, but it looks like maybe they can take this team fight. Arfu, he'll be the first one to die. Gabby in the back, fighting. Collison going to go down onto In Your Dream, or rather Ice, he will also die. It's looking great for TNC so far. Arbed going back in. Oh, he found the Spectre. Gabby. Got a bit too low there. In Your Dream, gonna be happy with that pickoff. They still do get quite a few buybacks out, so it's not all bad for TNC. But that's Gabby without a buyback.
Yeah, that is still really big for Team Dog. Gonna give them the Aegis and the cheese as well. So they're gonna have a lot of tools here to keep themselves alive. Metamorphosis is not going to last too long, so I don't think they can really make their way onto anything. The only outer tower left is that bot tier 2, a bit too far out. But they're going to be able to stall out long enough and maybe find one.
Mel might pay for this stalling tactic. Will be able to blink away, has another orb, will actually pop the Dream Coil. Arbe just keeps rushing forward with these spider legs. Has another Astral Step, but I believe it is too late. Mel is going to be just fine. Ice. Tim's in danger. Almost dies. Still ruptured up as well, but he is on his high ground and he's going to be able to survive.
This is a really dicey position now for TNC. Tier 2 going to be slowly chipped away. They've got some interesting wards watching this area as well. Look at all these wards, Mike. Watching lane, watching the top, watching the side of the jungle as well. Interesting spots, but they will keep eyes on where Team Dog can play. This is the only spot for Team Dog to take any objectives. So just having this control should help TNC decide when to come in and when to take a risk and find an opportunity.
Well, they certainly need all the vision they can get. I mean, that's for sure. Whatever gives them the advantage, TNC, they'll take it. They're still not out of this game yet, that's for sure. Got to the point where Gabby wants to work on an MKB on the Spectre, just to be able to go through the butterfly of In Your Dream. And of course, it is going to be important. You start to kind of wonder if whether he's just better off with the Divine, but they do jump in. Bot lane, Paulison can be targeted first, does drop onto Arfu. They will get another. Gabby, looking for more. Does spot out Ice. Ice, gonna try and run away, but KB is gonna be there with the stun still. In Your Dream now pops the mana. Gabby getting very, very low. They got Ice, but they've lost their Spectre again. He can buy it back. Arbed, meanwhile, in a spot of danger, but there goes Febby. The damage In Your Dream is dealing is just way too high. Armel is gonna be alright for now, but Arbed is slowly but surely chasing him down. Armel will just go for the TP play out and will make it. So, not a bad team fight per se, but you did still lose the Spectre.
Yeah, overall, you win by numbers, you lose by priority of targets. Like, losing your Spectre just, again, slows down Gabby so much more. You are keeping Armel alive, and he does have the full Dagon 5, so you can do some damage, but the scaling on magic damage puck isn't as great as physical puck, and one has to wonder whether or not that's something Armel has to consider now as the tier 3s are being sieged. This is In Your Dream alone, but he has Aegis.
He does. It's very, very hard to defend this if you are TNC. Gabby, of course, does not want to commit the buyback, but he might have to as Arbed has jumped in once again. Onto Armel. Silences him up. They won't have enough to finish him off. There's your buyback, Gabby. He just has to commit it. Even though he was 10 seconds away, they do kill off Arbet on the Void Spirit. Now onto In Your Dream. He needs to try and run, but he cannot. He's a very, very slow Terrorblade as KP goes into the backlines onto Polison. Mel is there to clean him up. In Your Dream still trying to survive. Gets the Sunder off onto Gabby. Gabby will back off for now. In Your Dream, just waiting for the right moment, does go back in after Febby kills off the Undying. They just don't want to get close to this Terrorblade. Even without the meta, he deals a lot of damage out. Instead, they'll go after Arfu. Arfu will eventually die. In Your Dream, trying for the TB. Tims does get the Yules off just in the nick of time. Now with the arrow out, they can deal with In Your Dream as he's by himself. The Soru dishing out so much damage. In Your Dream
Satanic
with the Satanic surviving, gets KP down. He will not die. Still holding on to that aegis. TNC, they look unsure about this. Do we stick around? Do we back off? Looks like they are going to opt to back out of there. Ice, looking to go back in. Rod of Atos is going to be there on Febby. They want the dieback. And Febby, he cannot sustain the damage out from In Your Dream. It'll be a dieback on the Undying.
They lost their tier 4s. There were 4 siege creeps going on the towers.
Jeez.
And they're naked. Their Ancient is naked.
Yeah, well, In Your Dream, he has a meta backup as well. They will go back for the bot Rax. He gets it, and now I guarantee In Your Dream's thinking about that Ancient. He's going for it. He doesn't feel like he can be stopped. Gabby gonna haunt in, back to the back. Polison gonna die again. Gabby going for another now. Onto Ice. The Bloodseeker will also go down, but In Your Dream is still the big problem. Gabby will not die quite yet. He'll survive on 200 HP, but how do you stop him from going after the Ancient? He's just hitting their buildings, and they can't actually do anything about it. Tims will leap away, but Armel will not be so lucky. In Your Dream, looks like he will be able to finish it off, and the GG has been called. A very good game between these two, but Team Dog, they do manage to pull off the Game 1 victory over TNC Predator.
Yeah, they managed to pull ahead Team Dog. It looked a bit rough early. They were waiting really long for some item pickups. They were waiting for Obits. Ags does end up being worthwhile. And their power spikes were so much smoother. They had this insane push lineup with a Sport Lush, with a Pause 1 Terrorblade. TNC, for their part, really put a lot of faith into Gabby, and he did have a decent time. He was matching the Terrorblade for the most part, but they couldn't quite build up enough. Like, there was just not enough damage output to really get control there. They might have found the supports, but In Your Dream was always the major problem, and they never found an answer to that damage on In Your Dream.
No, they did not. Of course, with that, John, we are going to move into our final game of the night between TNC and Team Dog, and hopefully, if it's anything similar to the first game, it should be a pretty darn good one. It's MLP Dota and johnxfire. We'll see you all again very, very soon for the final game of tonight. See you soon.